Welcome everyone to Finance Training with Booking.com, how to reconcile your invoice. Today we're going to be looking at the Booking.com invoice cycle, how to utilize your reservations page, and how to communicate with guests and Booking.com. So first, let's take a look at the invoice cycle. The first of the month, your reservation statement will be generated. Got to have all your modifications done by the 5th of the month. Then on the 6th, invoices will be available in the extranet, and all of your payments for those invoices will be due by the 19th. So let's start with the first of the month and that reservation statement that gets generated. So in order to locate this reservation statement, find the Finance tab of your extranet, go to Reservation Statement, and then make sure you have the correct reservation time period selected on the left. Once you do so, you'll be brought to a page similar to this. Now again, this is available to you by the first of the month, and make sure that you have your correct reservation statement selected in the period box up top on the left. Bottom left in the green circle, you'll see where the book number will appear and also the guest name for any of your reservations. And then all of the reservation statement information will follow on the right side. So now you'll need to make any of your modifications and reconcile all of these invoices by the 5th of the month before the invoice gets generated. So let's take a look at how to do that by utilizing your reservations page. So we're going to show you how to get to the reservations page, how to mark no-shows, how to update reservation statuses, either stay dates, rates, things like that, and how to mark an invalid credit card if you could not charge your card. So let's take a look at this reservation statement again. So you'll notice that we have the correct reservation period up top and all of the information for the reservation off to the right there. So what you'll want to do is click on where the book number in that green circle on the left side, you'll have a book number there next to the guest name when there's a reservation. You'll click on that book number and it will take you to the reservations page. And when you get to the reservations page, if you need to modify the reservation in some way in order to reconcile to make sure your invoices are correct, these are the options that you'll have available to you. So the first one you want to take a look at is mark as a no-show. If the guest does not show up for their reservation, you can click Mark as No-Show button on the left side, and what you'll see is a menu depicted on the bottom right. It'll ask you, do you want to waive the no-show fee for this registration? Yes or no, and then you click Yes, mark a no-show. Next up, let's take a look at how to mark no-show and invalid credit card. So generally what happens when you mark a no-show, you'll just leave it and you'll move on. Well, a lot of times that's what causes some of the inconsistencies when the invoice is generated. So what you want to do is mark as a no-show, but also if they no-showed and you did not collect any revenue from them for a cancellation or no-show fee, you're going to want to go down under the payment box, the second green arrow on the screen, and also mark credit card as invalid. So what this does is let us know the guest did not show up and you did not have a proper credit card that you were able to collect any revenue for that reservation. This is a foolproof way to make sure that the commission rates are removed from your invoice. You can also do some things and make some changes in case there's some changes at the property. And this is done under change reservation dates and prices. So ideally you want to update this before the guest checks out. You'll get this message off to the right side where you're able to adjust the dates, maybe adjust the prices, and this will adjust the commission that will be given to that reservation accordingly. Some other options in this menu would be report guest misconduct. You'll use this if there's any kind of issues with the guest, if they trashed a room or something like that. Report credit card fraud. If they used or tried to use a card that was fraudulent, you can report that here. And then if there's any kind of chargebacks, you can report that with the chargeback cases button. All right, so we've taken a look at the first of the month reservation statements and how to make modifications before the 5th of the month. Let's take a look at what happens when the invoice is generated and available in the extranet on the 6th of the month. So here you'll see, again, in the Finance tab under Invoices, you'll see the invoice that has been generated. So the green circle on the left will be your invoice number and the area where you can download the invoice PDF if you'd like. And then the green circle on the right is View Statement. That will once again take you back to the reservation statement. So when you click the Download PDF on the left side, you'll get the invoice that looks something similar to this. And if you click the circle on the right side for reservation statement, you'll be taken to the new version of the reservation statement that looks like this. So again, make sure that you have the correct reservation time period selected in the top left. And the way that this reservation statement changes now is you're no longer able to make modifications. Now this is an invoice that has been generated by this reservation statement. So what it now shows is book number and guest name. It's also going to show the result of that reservation, whether it was stayed or canceled. It'll show the final amount of the booking, and it'll show the commission amount due from that booking. But it'll also have this dispute commission amount box. Now, I highly, highly, highly recommend you do all of your reconciliations before this is generated. You can still use this dispute commission amount box for very rare occasions, but please don't use this as a first line of defense. It's very difficult to get these approved. It's much, much easier to reconcile before this is generated. If you do need to use this last chance effort to dispute a commission amount, once again, you can go to the invoice page as I just showed you and click on statements. You can also go to finance reservation statements, choose the period you want to look at. When you get there, go to that dispute commission amount box and click the little checkbox. When you click the checkbox, you'll get this larger dialog that pops up, gives you the guest name, their check-in, check-out date, and then a couple of drop-downs to figure out what exactly was going on. So what's the reason for the dispute? You can put additional info in there, which we always recommend, just a quick explainer as to what happened, and then the amount paid by the guest. So in this example here, the reservation wasn't marked as a no-show in time. The amount paid by the guest was zero, so the commission that should be owed should be zero. So let's step back and take a look at the invoicing cycle once again. So first of the month, we have that reservation statement where you can start reconciling the reservations for the month with your records. 5th of the month is when all of those modifications would be due. 6th of the month is when the invoice would be generated, and then your invoice payment will be due on the 19th. Let's take a look at how we want to pay those invoices. For fastest processing, submit a one-time ACH payment or opt in for direct debit. If you want no fuss, no muss, direct debit's the way to go. Put your information in, the invoice will be automatically debited, and you don't have to worry about it. If you'd rather do a one-time payment every month, you can do that as well. You can do it all right from the extranet. You can mail your check in if you want to mail a paper check in. It's not as recommended as an ACH payment or direct debit. Mail processing times are a little more unpredictable, and direct debit is the recommended payment option for easiest and quickest way to pay. So let's review a little bit what we've talked about. The source of truth is the extranet. Make sure you reconcile before the 5th to avoid any commission disputes, because those are a little bit more difficult to submit and get approved. One thing that I would like to say is you should download the Pulse app if you haven't already to reduce your workload. The Pulse app is an app developed as a partner app that helps you stay on top of things whenever, wherever. And you can use Pulse to respond to guests, update your availability, reservation details, receive updates right from any smartphone or tablet. So if it's something you don't currently have downloaded, I definitely recommend you do so to help reduce your workload on Booking.com. And then finally, step 4, partner.booking.com is always a great resource for peer support. So let's say you've done all that, but you still have a question for the finance team. You can check your inbox tab, go to Booking.com messages, and pick your topic as finance, invoice, and payments, and submit your information right in there and send a message. The credit control team is great about getting back to you with any and all questions through the Booking.com messaging center. Another very important thing to take a look at, make sure your contacts are up to date. In the contacts page under the account tab in the extranet, you'll see an invoices area. The invoices will be mailed to the contact in that list, so make sure that that contact is up to date, the email's correct, the phone numbers are correct so that they're getting all the correct invoicing on time. Just a quick look at the reservations page. So you can go to, obviously, the reservation statement. You can go to reservations themselves, but if you want to look at the overall of the reservations page, it looks something like this. You can check here what status the reservation currently is in, whether or not the payment has been pushed through, if they have good credit cards, if they are ready to cancel because of an invalid credit card, anything like that can be checked and filtered right from this reservations page. Another thing you can do is filter for virtual cards. So there is a filter on that page to check for uncharged virtual cards. There's also a box that will bring you straight to the virtual credit card hub. And that looks something like this. You can also access this from the Finance tab, Manage Virtual Cards. And in here, you'll see the virtual cards that need to be refunded, but also the virtual cards that need to be charged. They'll be sorted by the earliest refund date, easy button to click and view the VCC details, and also a link to the Partner Hub page for questions on VCC. So another great resource for you is the Virtual Credit Card Hub. Sometimes we do need to contact our guests. So here's a quick look into how you can do that. So once again, we're up top. If you want to go to the Reservations tab, you can go and click on a specific reservation. Or if you just want to see guest messages overall, go to Inbox, Guest Messages, and you can see all of your information right through there. From the reservation statement, again, we saw that you can check the status, the credit card status, whether or not it's paid, virtual card, but you can also check and see whether or not you have a guest message that's pending. And once again, use the filters to make that a little easier on you. You can click guest communication, pending guest request to see all of those that need to be answered. So let's wrap up a little bit here. In summary, reconcile by the 5th, invoice generates on the 6th, payment due on the 19th. How should we pay? Direct debit is the best, or if you want to do a one-time, ACH payment through the extranet is also a recommended method. And make sure your invoice contact is the most up-to-date. This is where all the information gets sent, so having that current is definitely going to help you. And last but not least, if you ever have any questions or need any more support, partner.booking.com is always there. You can go there, visit the Help Center, and search Invoice for any additional information. Thanks so much for joining. Have a good day.